Hello, my name is Nur Begovic. I go to Druga gimnazija Sarajevo, the IB-NYB program. In this video, I shall be talking about the migration crisis in Bosnia and Herzegovina. This crisis began in 2011, with thousands of Middle Eastern and North African men and women simultaneously leaving their homes with a goal of reaching Western European countries. Many of these people fled from their war-stricken or politically unstable countries, fearing for their lives and the lives of their loved ones. In order to clarify the phrase politically unstable, if one were to be considered an enemy of such a government, there is no guarantee they would not get killed or kidnapped. Such people are referred to as refugees. The other group of people involved in the migration crisis are migrants. This term refers to people who have left their country simply with the goal of finding better living conditions elsewhere. This can mean better education or a higher paying job. Moreover, they were in no way endangered in their own country. So if all of these people are not migrants, then why do authorities, media, and consequently locals most commonly refer to this crisis as the migrant crisis? Well, according to the law on asylum in Bosnia and Herzegovina, refugees are granted the rights to adequate reception conditions such as accommodation, food, primary health care, primary and secondary education, as well as free legal aid and psychosocial support. Migrants, on the other hand, are not granted such rights. Moreover, if all of these people were referred to as migrants, the refugees' rights would not have to be respected. In addition, local people are much less welcoming and are less likely to stand up for those they think have come to steal their jobs than to people who came fearing for their safety. This crisis reached Bosnia and Herzegovina in 2018, with 24,799 refugees and migrants coming to the country between 1st of January 2018 and 31st of January 2019, most of whom are male persons between 18 and 25 years of age. As Croatia closed its borders, a majority of them are forced to stay here much longer than they originally hoped to. But what are their living conditions in Bosnia and Herzegovina really like? Going through the refugees' list of rights, let's start with accommodation. Not nearly all asylum seekers have access to accommodation. This number was 53 out of 437 in March 2019. When it comes to healthcare, primary healthcare is said to be provided to those residing in asylum centers. Those living outside of these centers only have access to healthcare in theory. And as I said, a relatively small percentage have access to these centers at all. When it comes to mental health care, asylum seekers have no access to it, although 114 of them have been diagnosed to have psychological problems. You can only imagine how many undiagnosed cases are out there, given their dangerous and often traumatic journeys. When it comes to food security, about a fifth of the migrants and refugees are often provided 0 meals in a day. 67% reported having 1 meal, while those who have 2 or 3 often either purchase them themselves or are provided to them by Bosnian people. Their resources, however, are running out. When talking about education, migrants and refugees have access neither to secondary nor to primary education. Taking other resources into account, a majority of these people express the need for clothes and shoes, and about half for sleeping bags. They also face other dangers, such as not knowing where minefields are, as well as vulnerable groups such as families or children being at risk of becoming victims of violence and theft. Now that I've given you facts and statistics, let's take a look at this matter from a first-hand perspective, by interviewing one migrant and one refugee in our country. Hello, thank you so much for being a part of my project. Could you tell me what your name is and where you're from?
My name is Ilyas and I'm from Morocco.
You're from Morocco, that's wonderful. Could you tell me what it was like living in Morocco?
The life in Morocco is good. It's not about style of life. It's about achieving goals. I love playing football. I played football when I was a child. So my life is football. I'm come here for football.
So that's the reason why you left Morocco?
Yes.
Yeah. So can you tell me what your journey was like? What was like coming here? Did you have any bad experiences?
Yes, bad experience. So sacrifice. A lot of problems, but.
How long did it take you approximately? It was a hard journey.
Months.
A few months.
Yeah.
How do you like it in Bosnia?
Bosnia is a beautiful country. Beautiful. All immigration they are speak good about Bosnian people. They help a lot of immigrants. They tell me about they when they come to Bosnia, that people of Bosnia they help them, and that's very good to find people.
If it weren't for the citizens of Bosnia and Herzegovina, you wouldn't have enough resources for life here.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's the people who actually help you. That's amazing. So could you describe some of the problems you have?
Problems here is the weather. It's cold. It's not problem of country. It's a natural problem. So we can't for me in Morocco it's hot weather. So when we come here,
You're not used to it exactly.
Yes.
So
And other problems we stay here. Not our choice.
this is not where you want to achieve your career goals. So where would you like to go?
Inshallah, I will go to France, Paris. I can find their family. I have 2 brothers, my mom, so I can stay with my family, start achieving goals, live my dream.
I really hope you make it. Thank you again
Inshallah.
so much for
You're welcome. My name is Elias. I'm from Morocco. 24 years old, and my dream is to play football in Europe.
Hello, my name is Noor. Thank you so much for being a part of my project. Could you tell me what your name is and where you're from?
My name is Abdullah from Palestine.
From Palestine. So could you tell me what was life like in Palestine? What did you do there?
طبعا
Abdullah is from Gaza. His life there was very, very difficult. Gaza, as you know, is under siege, and what he's saying that no human being should live in circumstances the way that they are in Gaza.
في الشيء يعني
So what was your profession there? Did you go to school? Did you go to college, university?
أنا
Yes, he has graduated from university. He is an electric engineer.
That's very impressive. So could you tell me your story? How did you leave? How did you get to Bosnia?
رحلتي كانت
The journey was very difficult. It was sometimes adventurous. First of all, he had to get to Egypt, where he stayed for 7 days, sleeping outside and not being able to find a shelter. After that, he went to Turkey. In Turkey, he spent 6 months, throughout which he had needed to work. He worked a lot because he needed to save money. The next stop was Greece. After Greece, he tried to get here, and he was very happy to make it finally to Bosnia. The trip to Bosnia was very difficult because it was through the forest, a lot of difficulties. The weather also changed, which didn't help. But when he came here, he was very, very excited to be here. This is actually the only country where he felt that people were friendlier. He reached his goal, and the reason for that is that here he really felt good because this was the only country where people were welcome.
I'm so glad you had such experiences in Bosnia. So could you tell me how is your life here actually? What do you have any problems here? Do you have any resources that you lack? How do people treat you?
When Abdullah says that he's from Palestine, people feel sympathetic towards him, and they feel the urge to help, in particular because citizens of Bosnia were in a similar situation not long ago.
That's amazing. I'm so glad you have positive experiences here. I just have one last question for you, and that is, as of right now, since you don't have the papers just yet, what are some of the things people could do to help you the most?
نكون احنا هنا رسميين.
Abdullah and many other migrants is that they are all in the same boat, kind of a thing. He thinks that they're all considered to be migrants. Most of them are actually not, and they're refugees rather than migrants, but they're all in the same boat. He believes that the government should register each individual. They should be treated individually, not as a whole. Because, we registered because everyone takes responsibility for himself rather than being blamed. If one person does something wrong, then the whole group gets blamed for it. So this is what he thinks, that things should be more organized.
I totally agree with you. Thank you so much for participating in my project. It was a pleasure to really and I really admire, I really hope that you get to stay in Bosnia, especially with such an amazing degree. I really do hope you get there.
As the migrants and refugees are not provided many basic living necessities by our government, I believe it is our duty to help them to the best of our ability. Bosnian people were in their shoes 2 decades ago, so we should be most empathetic and helping towards them. Our people are commonly kind and moral, but one can always do more to help those in need. A few marks, a pastry, or a simple conversation often means the world to these migrants and refugees.